Hello, everyone. So our today's topic is
Okay.
going to be about...
But are you ready?
Yes, you can start
Can she
now,
start?
Sarah.
Okay.
Sure. Okay, so I'll go on. Our today's topic is going to be about humanity and technology. So let's go through this topic by starting to... I would like actually to know your vision about a quote. There's a saying that most scientists say, which is, I quote, AI is the new electricity, which refers to how artificial intelligence is going to be so important in the world. It's not going to, it's going to take the place, the importance of electricity in, in the human world. Artificial intelligence is going to take an important role in shaping many areas, many domains, um, many areas of our lives, especially. So, what do you think of this quote, and what is your vision about this? Let's go. Let's start with you, Nicole. Please unmute your microphone. Unmute your microphone, Nicole. I can't hear you.
Excuse me. Excuse me. I don't understand whole, so it's better maybe you come back. You turn in other.
Okay, I'll explain to you even more.
Okay.
So basically, what is now currently in the technological world, there is a development of artificial intelligence. And a development of artificial general intelligence, which stands for a more performant artificial intelligence. And these robots, these uh, humanoids that are being created, they have a certain power of thinking. They have a certain intelligence to process information, to make a certain activities that they had been designed for. And generally speaking, for now, it is said that these artificial intelligence creatures, humanoids and robots, are designed for example, there are robots that can map the streets, that create map, that go, they collect data and they create map based on that. There are some robots that are designed in stocks, in companies to to transport materials. So each human or each robot is designed for a certain particular activity. And now scientists are saying that AI is a new electricity, which refers to the importance of AI, artificial intelligence, in the near future. So what do you think of this from your perspective? And just tell us your vision about this quote and about technology, generally speaking, its development.
Yeah. I think that in 10 years, a lot of things, a lot of production are changed to prepare ourselves to this artificial technology, to maybe change the employer in something else as robots. I don't know. The question is not easy because we are just in this business. So think about what I think. Yeah, I think that we lose a lot of things as I don't know, and for example, all the things handmade, etc. But yeah. All the things will be more less human, because the technology, I think that it's I imagine is like a heist. It's not nothing human, but here is the new world is I don't know. We have to our generation have to change mentality because this is the new world. Maybe change something else in our vision, in our mentality, and looking for human in other things is something else to survive in this new world that maybe can be, you can love it or don't love it. I don't know.
Thank you, Nicole, especially for that point about humans and technology. And from that, I would like actually to ask Ken from Cameroon, please. How do you think the development of technology will impact our social interactions?
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think that this issue of artificial intelligence started because human intelligence proved to be a little inadequate for the present human wants. As much as we want to accept that the human being is the most intelligent from, the expression Homo sapiens, I want to also think that this intelligence has made a human being want to outlive certain things and to desire more and more comfort for the human species on Earth. And this need for comfort has led to the point where the human being's intelligence cannot afford everything the human being wants on Earth. Consequently, in order to make life more comfortable and to provide those needs which we need, which we have to make life most comfortable for us, we need other things, other people to do our jobs. These things started with slavery and slave trade, and then moved to the introduction of computers, and those computers were big. Then with time, we had more computers that were smaller, and then we had laptops, and then we have iPads, iPhones. Then we have Android phones, which are used by virtually. The truth about this whole thing is we are moving, and the world is changing, and we are evolving with these changes. However, this is going to have manifold influences on human interactions as well as human relations, which will be economic, psycho-cognitive, psychosocial. In fact, one of the first things that will happen to the human being and his interaction will be the human being will lose touch. The issue of the social need to be together with each other is already getting lost. Sometimes you see a husband and a wife sitting together in a house. Both of them are Android. I mean, they are touching their phones and they no longer communicate. I mean, a husband will be in the room, the wife is in the sitting room, and they text each other, "Hello, dear, please, can you get me a cup of water?" I mean, using the phone. So when we move past that to the point where robots have to do some of those things that would help us interact with each other. For example, you have 3 kids, and instead of the kids bringing water to you, a means by which you guys communicate and interact, a robot has to bring water to you. How will that affect your relationship with your kids? Of course, you become less close to your kids as you used to be, and you'll be you feel a little more convenient because you are not making any of your kids feel bad by sending them anyhow. But this issue about human rights and artificial intelligence will take over the world. And this is what I found out from the BBC 2 weeks ago, that in the year 2015, one computer was not equal to one man, equal to one in England. The year 2045, one is put together. So what will happen is all of us will lose our, what policemen used to do, for example, is done by drones. What video cameras used to do on helicopters is done by drones. And so you find out that increasingly we are getting unemployed. When we get unemployed and we stay home, we may have to look for other means of income, and money will be found in the hands of the few people who are getting, who have control over information and communication technology, and who are slowly moving us to the point where we become most reliant on information and communication technology. That statement that the IA is becoming the electricity of this era is very true, because I mean, we have been programmed in such a way that we can't do without electricity. For example, if we don't have electricity in 2 hours of blackout, some of our phones will go down, this meeting will stop, we'll no longer be able to communicate. And that is what is happening. Very soon, the robots will take over the world, and we won't be able to interact without robots. We'll be able to trust robots better, more, because robots don't have sentiments. Probably they won't have a sense of judgment, and so there'll be no reason to mistrust or distrust a robot, but we can deceive each other. So we want to trust robots with our money, with our businesses, with our transactions, with our lives. This whole thing will move from the love for animals and pets to the love for robots. Once that starts happening, we have been told that by 2045, when the brain of one computer will be equal to the brain of all human beings on Earth, that will be the beginning of the end of the human race, because this artificial intelligence will be able to start thinking like human beings, and they will think across themselves and organize themselves in such a way that they would take over the world. So as much as we are trying to upgrade ourselves and make sure that life gets more comfortable, we should not be stupid enough to let these things take over every faction of our lives. Some time ago, human beings used to think about calculations. Every calculation was done. Today, we can't even calculate. If somebody has to ask the majority of us what the cube root of 52 is, we won't know. The reason is simple. Computers came, took over, laptops came, took over, calculators took over. Now, you just need to go to Google Drive or some other app and ask that question, and the answer pops up without you disturbing your head. That is already how we have begun. We already started to rely on these machines, and they have just upped their game to the 5G thing, which is more internet, and which is what they need to communicate. So you and I are experiencing global change, and this issue of IA should not be, it should not become the electricity of our time, because it will stop you and I from discussing, and we'll have to discuss through robots. Right now, robots they already condition our discussions. While I'm talking to you, this information has to pass through some communication agencies and routes for you to get it. So there are some things I can't even tell you right now, because if I dare, maybe some Interpol will come for me. That will be the case very soon when robots become the policemen. You say something against the robots or the non-humans, somebody or something will come for you, and before you know it, the human race will be down. So our social life is affected in such a way that we won't be as close to each other as we used to be. We'll lose our employments, and the human beings will become virtually useless. money will be concentrated in the hands of the very few people who control artificial intelligence. And you and I, who form the majority, will virtually become slaves and dependents. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much again for your interesting point of view. And I believe that you had spoken about a very important concept, which is information. And that leads me to my next question to Saham. I actually would like to ask you, Saham, how the development of technology will impact the reliability of the information and the transparency of the media.
Can you repeat the question? Actually, here the network connection is so bad.
Sure. My question is, how can the development of technology help improve the reliability of the information that people receive and the transparency of the media? So,
Hello,
yeah, I can hear you, Saham. Can you hear me?
hello. Actually,
Okay, Saham can't hear us. He has a connection problem. So I will direct my question to Sarah from Algeria.
Yeah. So you asked us, can you repeat the question so that I can answer clearly?
The question is, how can the development of technology impact the reliability of information that people receive and the transparency of the media?
Of course. So we've already talked about the intelligence, artificial intelligence, and how those robots are possible to be existing in our world, like in the next generations. First of all, I see that it's so possible, and like everything seems to be impossible is gonna be existing in our world, like the other inventions that already existing right now. And about this information, so I don't know if it's gonna be like in the same way. Like I don't have a clear vision about it, but since it's if it's about let me see, if it's about this artificial intelligence and how it's gonna be transforming it, it's gonna be transformed as they send it to us. If I'm understanding clearly the question, if I don't know, so I can say that the information's gonna be like it's I don't know, it's up to the media how it's gonna transform it to us. So I think it's like this.
Sarah,
Is it the right question you asked me? Because I think I didn't really get it.
Okay, I will rephrase the question. Do you trust the information, the reliability of the information that will be given to you by logical creators? Like very factual information. There are no very factual information. There are factual information, but do you really trust that?
Okay, well, I'm gonna say that those creations are programmed by we as humans. So even if it's transformed to us by those robots or anything else, it came from human. So why not trust in it?
That's very true. Humans are the ones who are programming robots. Thank you so much, Sarah. And that leads me to my next question to Miguel, actually. How do you think? Hello, Miguel. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. How do you think the development of technology in the future will shape the way human will think about every single situation and analyze situations?
Do you mean situation or?
Situation, any kind of situation, like more likely the spirit of analysis of the person.
Oh, great. Yes. So actually, yesterday I was watching something about artificial intelligence in Deutsche Welle to prepare the.
Miguel, can you please unmute your microphone? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can
Can you
hear you
hear?
now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So thank you again. So I was checking yesterday a video of artificial intelligence in the Deutsche Welle to prepare to this session. So I was checking that a lot of these automobile brands such as BMW, they have been or they are now trusting in how robots they really can drive themselves, like these cars or aircrafts with remote driving, right? So it was something very, very particular about when there is like a lot of traffic or pedestrians crossing in not a very precise sidewalk, how the robots will be able to really reflect if they will be target or no. So this is like really so like unbelievable. And also, as my comrade from Cameroon was saying, that actually we could be now being surveillance by Google and all of this stuff. Now, so privacy is also like a very, very important subject. And also, I was checking yesterday how the Chinese government use this new technology to survey all kind of movement in China. I mean, they really know in every specific neighborhood, like even who's using electricity, internet, how many doctors are available by region, and etc. Right? So it's very, very like fascinating how this the technology will decide in every single moment our life, every single situation, how the technology actually is ruling. As we can say, we cannot just go back. We already facing and living that. And of course, like day by day, the technology, the robots will be taking more in our daily life. For example, I just thought that perhaps before this pandemic, I didn't know how to use, for example, Zoom, right? So I really need to get in this era of new technology and blah, 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 right? So also this is really fascinating. And I think in every situation nowadays, the new technology, the artificial intelligence is it's present. So I don't know if it was right, or should I speak more? Shukran.
Thank you so much, Miguel. Really interesting point of view. And actually, intelligence has, especially artificial general intelligence, has a super intelligence power. And that's why there are some scientists who have some certain fears in this regard. And actually, I would like to ask you, Buznay Lopez from Mexico.
Yeah.
I actually would like to ask you a question in regards of data. So, within the time, the amount of data, like now scientists are capable of having more amount of data, scale of data had increased, which had increased the performance of, for example, deep learning, of so many tools that are used to treat these data and to get something like to get results from the data and like to process the data. So I would like, an online advertising is one of these is one of the applications of deep learning, of large amounts of data. So how do you think online advertising is impacting people? Are they
Online
capable of
advertising.
convincing people through their programs?
About data. Yes.
Mhm.
Well, I think it's very useful, like cloud computing or something big data for us, because help us to save our information, and maybe with all of those data, we can do different things, and we don't have problems with all our data because we save in not a physical thing, and we can save all our information, all our data in the internet. The advertising. What was your question, please? Can you repeat me your question, please?
My question is actually in regards to the application of deep learning, the application of having a large amount of data to process. So online advertising is one of the applications. Do you think that online advertising is influencing people to change their minds about a product through all this process?
I think yes. Where in my opinion, the advertisement help or influence all people, because all of us use internet, and when we are maybe on Facebook, we see some publish, and when we see something like that, we look that thing, or we see that thing, and we think maybe that we can get that thing and try to be like everyone, because in all the advertisement have someone who are different, or someone who show us something different, and maybe we wanna be different, or those advertisements help us to develop our imagination, or try to help us with something. I think it's very influence, and I don't know what else.
Thank you so much. True, it's very like it is actually used to influence people, you know. So thank you so much for your opinion. And actually, Miguel, Sarah had liked Shukran so much. Thank you. Actually, Luna, hi.
Oh, hi.
Hello.
Hello.
When we had spoken about the cultural diversity of each country, I was really attracted by the diversity of your culture. And I would like to ask you about how technology can help the diversity of your culture to be more celebrated, to be more embraced, and to be improved.
Well, I think technology really help the diversities. Actually, with technology, we can have access to different information, and we can do many things, and we can get some information from foreign countries, and we can I don't know. Yeah, I think we can, like, for example, that if we don't understand certain language, we can use translation and get the information, so we don't have communication barriers. So I think basically technology is helping us in many ways. Actually, in some way, if we use technology in the correct way, we can actually improve our humanity. We can increase our mutual understanding with each others. Yeah, I think that's what I think.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's very interesting actually to speak about the mutual understanding of between humans, because we had already spoken about social interaction, the impact of technology and social interaction, and how quite negative it is from our participants' point of views. And now you have been given a very positive point of view of how we can increase our mutual understanding through technology. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wislam, I'm sorry. Hello, Wislam, can you hear me?
Wisdom, I think.
Wislam. Okay, so I'll move to Soham. Soham, is your connection better? Can you hear me now?
Yes. No. Yes, I can.
Okay, great. So, Soham, can you please tell us how technology is going to develop humanity in the future? Your point of view about this.
Okay, in future, I think there will be a lot of application, more application like now we have Instagram, Facebook type of social media, and I hope in future there will be a lot of application like that, and like this in Zoom application we used to communicate with people around the globe. I think there will be something in future where we can meet people body to body, but virtually, sitting in our home, but virtually we can meet new people around the globe virtually, and there will be a slight feeling that we meet them or we meet them to body, and in future there I think there will be a lot of robots, as many of people says, like Mr. Akim. So, but a human will be there, but like in 2050 or 60, there will be a lot of good technologies compared to now. So I think that it depends of the world. So it's my opinion about it.
Mhm. Thank you so much, Soham. It's actually
Yes, up one.
Mhm. It's very interesting. Thank you. Hello, Rasika. Rasika, can you hear me? Did I pronounce the name correctly? Okay. Okay, so actually I would like to ask you all a question in regards of your experience in using technology. So what can you tell us about your experience of using technology in a correct and most effective way?
Well, in my opinion, technology helps us to do things easier. And for example, in factories, help us to automate all our production and maybe transport all the material easier than before. And sometimes we don't need more people to do things. Maybe with one machine, we can do all the things that all people can do or could do before.
Mhm. And what
And it
about your
is
personal experience?
my personal experience with technology.
Mhm.
Well, for example, the technology helped me to save my information, to make my life easier than before, to do things easier or without difficulty, or what else? I don't know, but technology helps us in everything. And in a near future, we can do more things than before. For example, in present we have robots that help us to, maybe if I am lying in my bed, maybe I can send that robot bring me some food without problem. And that is how the technology will help us in everything in our daily life.
Thank you. Sarah, how do you
Yeah, I'm gonna say something. So, talking about
Sure.
my experience in using technology, I think we all saw how technology is important during this pandemic. We saw how much how much it can help us, how much it can make like the distance between us smaller, and a lot of change is gonna change because of that. Like after the pandemic, and after that, we're gonna see how huge companies huge companies gonna get over the rent and can work online. We saw how students could manage their studies from home, so it's gonna change a lot. And also, my experience with technology is like having this call, this meeting is of course because of technology. Meeting people from all around the world is like a simple thing that technology can do for all of us. And of course, technology is important. It's gonna keep developing. It won't stop, even if sometimes we don't want it to be the way it is, or sometimes we can we don't accept that thing. For example, some are against the robots, some are against those stuff. But even if we don't accept them, it will happen. And the technology, it's helping us. It's trying to make us our life easier. But does it, or it's just making us lazier?
Thank you, Sarah. Very interesting point of view. What about you, Suham? How do you
Yes,
use
actually, according to,
Yeah, go ahead, please.
yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so my personal experience regarding technology is actually I can't live without technology, without my phone especially, because I used to learn languages day by day, mainly Spanish and also Arabic. And without technology, without internet, I can't learn it. And I have a habit to learn national anthems of different countries. So by YouTube, I used to listen all the national anthems of countries. So for me, that too is the major role of my life, major part of my life. And without technology, I can't do with that. And I can't even listen new languages or new national anthems. So this is my opinion.
Thank you, Suham. What about you, Pat? How do you use technology effectively and properly?
For me, as now I'm doing business online, so I use technology a lot. Now I just start doing the business in Australia while I'm staying in Thailand. So I cannot do it without technology. This helped me, I can earn money in Australian dollar while I'm staying in Thailand, which is about 20 times less cost of living. So that's very useful for me. And in my opinion, actually, it's like everything in the world is up to the human being. It's up to that person to use the tool or the technology wisely, just to use its usefulness to benefit them or let them harm us. So if we are like, if we use all the technology to make us feel more comfortable, and we can spend more time in something more important in life. So that's a clever way, I think. But if we let them like ruin our life, like we are getting lazy and we don't do any activity, no movement or very less movement, that can also harm our body, something like that. So it depends on the person. And I agree with Sarah, another Sarah, that it will happen anyway. Actually, it's already happened. So we cannot, how to say, we cannot deny it, but it's our decision how to use it to benefit ourselves.
Thank you so much, Pat. It's very interesting, actually. The point that you had said is that technology depends on its user, and how it's all about how we use it. We can take the most advantage out of it as we can really go into wasting our time. And yeah, thank you so much.
I want to,
Yeah,
may I speak?
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, all of your questions are very interesting. So I'm trying to resume every questions. So the first one is if the technology, how the technology affect the marketing department, and if it really affected. Yeah, so nowadays artificial intelligence really affect the marketing project and also the human being behaviors toward product and services. And as you can see, so nowadays we have multiple platforms to perform the marketing, whether for product or services. And there are also departments specialized in the marketing area. So you just tell them what do you want and what's your goal, and they will do that for you through artificial intelligence to reach as much as people. So I can give you an example, like in Facebook, there are a lot of options. I think once you get in Facebook, when you create an account, an option is turned on automatically at the first place. So which is Facebook can connect with your phone or your computer and can see all the things that you are doing in other websites, you know. So if, for example, if you go to Amazon and you bought a book, so Facebook is already aware that you are interested in books. So once you are scrolling down on Facebook, you can see advertising for the same book or for similar books. So have you ever got wondered, oh, what's going on? How Facebook can know that I already bought that book from Amazon, which is completely a different website. So this is the way they use for advertising. So maybe it is a contract between Amazon and Facebook. So Facebook can track you what things you are interested in on the Amazon website. So automatically Facebook will show you all the discount and the new opportunity for that item. Yeah, so that really affect the human behavior in the marketing place. So I just wanted to give that example regarding marketing. And regarding,
Excuse me, Hisham. Actually, speaking about Facebook, the thing is that Facebook collect data about its its users, and what they do is that they do profiling. Like every single company, Google, Facebook, and even when you are, for example, working in a company, for example, if you are working in a company, you have your suppliers. It's always about this. You collect the maximum of data that you need about the person, the target, the customer, and then you generate a profiling. Profiling in regards of the customer, it means that the preferences of the customer. Sometimes, for example, you go to Facebook and you would like to advertise your page, you see the targets that you would like to reach. And according to your target, Facebook will direct your post to the target according to the age, certain parameters. So it's all about profiling, it's all about collecting data and processing data and giving to and like targeting the people according to their needs. And their needs are being determined by the profiling and all of that. And there's also the customer analysis, which is a major by itself. And it's very interesting actually to perform. And it's also, if you can identify a person, you can control that person. This is something that we can't deny. So please go ahead.
Yeah, I understand your point. You are mentioning the collecting data. Yeah, but I went beyond that. Facebook is doing something else, not only collecting your data, because if they only collect your data, that means you are consent because you are the one who enter the data.
No, they collect your data and then they generate profiling, your profiling.
Yeah, they even do more than that. They track you on your device and see what you are doing if you go to other website. So it's beyond just collecting data, it's also tracking you. So if you
Tracking is
enter
collecting
to,
data, Hisham.
yeah, sorry?
Tracking is collecting data. It is a process to collect data as well, you know, to track
Yeah.
you, which means like they would like to understand your preferences. They would like to know how, according to your data. For example, Google, they have cookies. When you click on cookie, they can like generate that website even more. You have like the most website that you visit and all of that. So it's like a whole.
Yeah, that's the cookies. Yeah, in Facebook, they didn't ask you if you accept the cookies or not. So it's automatically on once you create a profile on Facebook. So the cookies are already turned on, you know? Yeah, I can see that in other websites. They always ask for your permission if you accept or decline the cookies option. Yeah, so so this is an example how they generate the marketing system. And let's talk now about the communication. Yeah, so artificial intelligence really affect the society behavior and the communication system and the communication behavior. So in a good way, I would say it's most of it is positive. This is the reason how we are communicating now, discussing different idea without any barrier, like in the future. And also the technology changed completely, or it's going to change it completely, the framework of learning and working from the real platform to the virtual aspect. Yeah, especially in under these circumstances, under the COVID-19 disease pandemic. So people turn into working or learning online in virtual classes or virtual offices. Yeah, so this is one of the, maybe in the past, it was one of the future aspects of technology. So that future is a present for now. So under that pandemic, a lot of things shows up, and we are getting to change our behaviors towards a lot of things due to economy. Because in the past, even if they are under a pandemic or whatever, they cannot change their behavior because they don't have options, you know. But nowadays we have a lot of option. I like the Akem opinion about robot, and especially the last one, when they start to hire robots as a police officers. That would be a very good movie for a science fiction genre, maybe in the future. Yeah, so but I still think, and I suppose, that robot can work effectively in a repetitive way, but not in a creative way. So it's always a system that you program it so they can work in a repetitive way. They can also solve problems, but that problems, the solution of that problems already exist. So they are already programmed in the robot. So everything exists. So they just work repetitively. So how much? I mean, it doesn't matter how they look smart for us, but they still a machine. They cannot create, and they cannot. More importantly, they cannot be opportunists, or they cannot get the opportunity for the crisis. Let's say nowadays, since we are under the pandemic, machines cannot be aware that we are under a pandemic. So they cannot think to get a new opportunity in the market or to change the way they are working with. But human beings can do that. I am aware that, for example, if I have a company, under this pandemic, I have to change the policy of my company because my old policy is not effective anymore under these circumstances. But robots cannot do that. They just keep doing the same work more and more, and they can solve problem using solutions that already exists. Okay. And also I wanted to add some side effect of the technologies. Most of them are related to the human health, not only to the society in general. So we have psychological issues such as distraction, addictions, and also lack of social skills. Because nowadays, if you go to the airport or a cafe or wherever, we have a deficiency in social skills. People are always distracting by using their phones and social media and sending messages, etc. And beside that, beside mental disease, the risk of artificial technology is also physical issues such as vision problem and hearing losses, as well as neck strain. Yeah, so thanks so much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Hisham. Actually, you had spoken about very important point, which is the limitation of artificial intelligence. And, you know, for me, like, according to my knowledge, there are some certain types of decisions. There are decisions that can be automated. There are decisions that cannot be automated. And according to the type of decision, we include the robots and the artificial intelligence. For example, when it comes to a certain type of a decision, robots function in that kind of decision is to just generate scenarios, to make forecasts, for us to be able, for humans to be able to assess the scenarios and generate action plans. So dependent on the type of decision making, and also there is an important point is that when it comes to robots, they are designed to solve logical problems. And not all problems requires logical solutions or logical thinking to solve them. There are some problems that we solve them using a more humanistic, more of an experience of a person, more of wisdom. Because, you know, nowadays scientists did not explain what wisdom is. And when you don't explain what wisdom is, you can't integrate it in artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, what wisdom means, that their capacity to connect paths. And this is something that they can do that right now. And there are some scientists who believe that because of the biological aspect that artificial intelligence, artificial general intelligence will have, they will be able to replace humans. And they say that because they have also super intelligence. But neuroscience do not agree with that completely, because it's not only about biology, but it's also about the connectivity of neurons that artificial general intelligence, a more performing AI, will not be able to have. And according to my own analysis of the situation, I believe that artificial general intelligence, especially, they can have everything, they can have intelligence, they can have everything, but they can't have that aspect of adapting to the situation. They are programmed for a certain task, they are programmed for a certain activity, so they don't adapt to the situation. That's why there is that's why, like, a human aspect and artificial general intelligence, both aspects are very important in the future, especially in regards to the changes that are happening currently. And actually that leads me to my next question and my final question. Are you able to integrate artificial general intelligence as a creator in the ecosystem, the global ecosystem? Like, do you accept this as a humans? Who would like to answer the question?
I think even that they're gonna be like good creators, they even like may look like us, but it's so hard to accept them among us, to accept them like and treat them like humans because they're not. So it's like it's no comparison between us and them. So yeah, that's my opinion.
Thank you, Sarah. What
But
about
of course,
you?
I can accept them in the society, but not as a humans. That's the thing. So if they are gonna be existed, no problem.
The question is, it's like not as a human, but as a creator. Like there are animals, there are humans, and there are robots and artificial general intelligence and AI.
Yeah, if they're just gonna be like robots, like the robots film, seeing robots around the world, I'm gonna accept it.
Yeah, I can accept them as well. Yeah, I think most of engineer would like to welcome robot to our society. Yeah, so they have a mathematics system. They are
I
not
wouldn't say that
confusing
it's
at all.
100%, totally.
Yeah, so I think they would be so friendly and comfortable to, I mean, to deal with them, especially for a scientist and engineer. Yeah.
Thank you, Hisham. What about you, Akam? Are you willing to embrace the integration of artificial intelligence as a creator in our ecosystem?
Well, I think, Sarah, these guys are, like others have said, they're going to be programmed. And I mean, for now, they will be like humans, because basically they'll be made from what is found in the ecosystem. Some of them will be made from metals, others from, and all of these things are from the ecosystem. And one of the basic rules of matter is it can neither be created nor destroyed. It can be changed from one form to the other. So basically, what has happened is the human being has changed matter from one form to another. Now, this IA will be used if they are programmed, like Hisham was saying. They will be programmed, and some of them will be working with genetic mutation stuff, genetic engineering. Some of them will also be in charge of the ecosystem. And if, for example, right now we can water 20 square miles of desert area to bring up some vegetation in one day, a robot will be able to do that, I mean, in less than a day, and probably will be able to do 500 miles in a day. So if they are coming in, I think they already have a space, they have a niche somewhere in the ecosystem.
I can please unmute your microphone. Yeah. Go on, please. Can you hear me?
Okay, so I was saying, they just need, yes, I can hear you. They just need to identify this space. They have a place, they can water, they can do mathematical stuff, they can do mathematical, genetic stuff, which will be used in improving probably the species of the ecosystem to make them probably more, let's say, more adaptable to harsh situations. And then with this, probably we'll have a better world, because if you and I cannot calculate something and we don't know what it takes, for example, for the coronavirus to leave the earth, if this is dropped into a robot and the robot is programmed to think in that direction, probably the robot will get a solution faster than we do. And talking about the ecosystem, if we have to balance up the ecosystem, then we need all hands on deck. I mean, from 1960, when it was discovered that there's some environmental shift and intelligence has proved itself a failure. We've not been able to. The coronavirus pandemic, which has shown up and a lot of things have dropped environmentally and the environment is almost getting restored. We would, if we give them a chance, probably the earth will be better. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Akim. What about you, Luna? Are you willing to integrate artificial intelligence as a creator in the ecosystem?
Okay, so I think that, oh, may I speak?
Okay, sure. And then I'll come back to you, Luna.
Oh, no, sorry. I thought that you mentioned my name. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Go ahead, please.
Oh, thank you. Well, I think that they are already integrated in our society. If we would like to see where are those robots, as our partners mentioned, they are already in the factories, right? I think that in China, in Japan, they really function a lot of those like robotized electrodomestics or like self-driven or robotized cars. So I think that they are already adapted and they are already in our normal life. So it's just like matter of time to really see them like walking besides us or next to us. And just want to take back something like about what positive things is that we, as we mentioned, we are having this very, very crucial and important session that it's gathering like a lot of people from different countries thanks to Zoom. And also I'm a teacher, right? So since March, I needed to adapt myself to this new method of the online classes by Zoom or Be Live or Google Meeting or the old Skype. And also I want to mention that, for example, I think Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg has been asked to be like in a sort of judgment due to the privacy. So I think this is also a very, very remarkable subject that Google or Facebook or all this Facebook family, WhatsApp, Instagram, so they already know everything about us. And also it's sure and it has been proved that they have been trading our data to someone else. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Miguel. What about you, Luna?
Yeah, I think that we have to embrace technology because it really helps us in many ways. And for example, as a teacher, I'm using the website from text to speech, so I can key in any text I want and they can produce native-like accents for me, and I can provide my students with native sounds, and it's amazing. I don't have to request a native speaker to make the recording for me. I can just ask the robot to do it. And in terms of giving exams, usually it is very hard to give students assessment in terms of their speaking. But right now with voice recognition, I can just ask them to record their voice and the machine, the robot, give me the score, how correct they are and how fluent they are. So my evaluation become very objective, and it's so easy for me to do the job right now. So I think basically technology do help us. But as Hitchkim, right? I don't know how to Hitchkim. Just mentioned that, like for example, sometimes technology really bring us to some kind of echo chamber, which that we only receive the information we like, we enjoy. So maybe we need to be careful to be more critical about the information we get, so we don't get manipulated by the information. Maybe, yeah. Still, it is very important for us to educate ourselves and also our kids to be careful, to be critical about using the technology. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Luna. Very important point of view.
Sarah, I think we are running out of time.
Well, I'll just ask Nicole because I just asked her once and I want to hear her voice again.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. What do you think, Nicole, of the integration of AI and technology as creator in the ecosystem? Do you totally embrace that or not?
I prefer pass this question.
Okay, so I'll pass it to Lopez. Lopez, can you hear me? I think it's okay. So thank you so much for coming today. It was a really enriching conversation. I really enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. So before we wrap up, I have good news for today, since we got a lot of suggestions and recommendations from our CTI members to start online learning session, virtual learning session for English. Yeah, so eventually we decide to start it. So the first session will be this Sunday, and we will set the virtual learning session for every Saturday. I mean, sorry, not Sunday, I mean Saturday. So every Saturday at 1 p.m. GMT, the same time as CTI meeting. So on Saturdays, we have the virtual learning sessions, and on Sunday, as usual, we have the CTI meeting. So what's the virtual learning sessions? It's a meeting on a Zoom platform where members from CTI who are interested in improving their English skills, vocabulary, speaking, listening, etc., will join us. I will share the link for our session every Friday. And in the session, we have 3 stages. At the first stage, we learn new vocabularies related to the same topic that we are supposed to discuss it on the next day, which means on Sunday. So we learn and discover together some new topics related to the CTI meetings topic. And also we see the usage of these topics in sentences and in context. And also at the end of the session, we practice this new vocabularies through listening to a video or podcast, how native speakers use it in sentences. And by the end, we have a conversation with each other about the topic, so we can practice the vocabulary that we already have learned. So I will share more information on our WhatsApp group. So if you are interested to improve your speaking skills in public, please join us every Saturday at 1 p.m. And to keep this project going on, we need more volunteers who can instruct and organize and lead the sessions. So everyone who is interested to instruct, lead, and organize our sessions, please contact me on WhatsApp, and we would be so glad to add you to the group of instructors, I mean. And yeah, so please, if you have any question, just don't hesitate to ask about, I mean, the virtual learning sessions. Okay, so yeah, can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, I think
okay.
if you explain, Hisham, how they can be part of it, like how they can participate in it. It'll be clear for them.
Yeah, it's very simple. Just the way they are participating in our CTI meeting, it's the same process. So I will share the link of our Zoom room on our WhatsApp group. So they just can click on the link or copy and paste the ID and join us on Zoom. Yeah, so this is for the participants who are interested to improve their English. And for the volunteers who want to be instructors for the learning sessions, they can just contact me. So we can add them to our instructors group. Yeah, that's very simple. And besides English, in the near future, we will think to add more languages. So the more we get more volunteers, so we can have the opportunity to have other virtual sessions, maybe for Russian, Arabic, Italian, Spanish, and other languages. So please, if you have any idea, you can message me on WhatsApp or wherever. So thanks for joining us today, and I hope to see you next Sunday.
Thank you.
And Saturday
Bye,
as
guys.
well.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye bye. Shukran. Wadian.
Adios, adios, ciao.
Adios.